Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is June 2nd, 2020. This is episode number 11 of the Mo Banter Podcast. I am Mo.
I am Mini Mo.
No, you're not.
I'm Nathan.
Alright, and the song playing is in as it was last time we did this is Lost on My Cup by my cousin, his uncle How Words. You can find him on the Instagram at how.words. You can also find that song on YouTube, Spotify, and I believe Amazon Music, Google, and other music distribution sites. And yeah, so with that, let's get started. How are you doing, my boy?
I'm doing good.
Sweet. So just like last week, we're gonna follow a simple kind of scenario. We're gonna start off with Starcraft because, as we mentioned, was it last week? It was last week. It was like last Friday. We've been watching a lot of Starcraft lately, and with summer being here and GSL Season 2 kind of coinciding with us not having anything to do most days, we stay up on Tuesdays. Fridays is usually our prime time, kind of, which is kind of a little bit easier to watch, but all the ones that take place on Wednesday are super early, are Tuesday, like 2:20. So we're staying up from like 2:20 a.m. until like 6 to watch this, which would probably be bad, but sometimes our things are messed up.
Yep.
So we started off with Pool C, which was Tuesdays. No, what up? Fridays.
Yeah. No, Tuesday. Yep. Yes.
Fridays. Because we just watched Pool D. All right, cool. So that was Pool C for Friday, which again is like the simplest ones. And the four for Pool C were Solar, who's a Zerg, Super, who was a Protoss, Rogue, another Zerg, and Tasia, who was a Terran. So, all right, cool. So I guess let's just get started with match number one. So Pool C, match number one was Solar versus Super, ZVP, Solar as a Zerg. As I got game one, pretty much Super tried to pylon block and then just didn't really seem to matter. He got steamrolled. Super tried to do some harass with disruptors, but didn't really get nothing off of it. And then Solar just came and said, well, nice try, chump. And that was pretty much game one. Game two was pretty much more the same according to my notes. Slow start, minor engagement, warp prism, adept harass, and then there was one big engagement with roaches and ravagers, and
yeah,
that was it. The entire match, maybe 15 minutes as a whole. So really wasn't much there. Solar goes on to win that pretty convincingly. Match two was Rogue versus Tasia, which is a ZVT, with Tasia being the Terran. Let's see. And then game one seems like it lasted like a pretty long time. 19, 25. It looks like 25 minutes. Let me see how we go here. So it started off with normal Reaper and Lings, kind of like minor harass, kind of minor defense there. So for those who kind of don't understand or don't know some of the basics in StarCraft, usually there's like a normalizing of the way a game should go. So like for a ZVT, for example, it's somewhat normal for the Terran to either start off with Reapers, which is a unit you can manufacture off of the barracks, or a couple Hellions, or maybe even a Widow Mine, which are units you can get out of their factories. So when we say normal, you might see a couple different openings just because it is kind of normal in the flow game, depending on the map being a big kind of determining factor. Reapers tend to be able to climb hills, so if you have an expansion or you have something that can be jumped up and down, usually it's Reapers. If it's something that's a little bit more secluded with a little bit more distance, usually you go Hellions just because you get a little bit more speed out of them. You can escape them, you can drop them. And seeing as you have more distance, that extra speed might not seem noticeable, but it makes a big chunk of difference just because you can, again, build factories, maybe even build a starport and drop Hellions instead of running them across the map. So it's little things like that. And again, once you get into StarCraft, if you guys get into it at any point, it's something that you'll notice. So Tasia builds an army of Hellions, one Reaper and Viking, Liberator, Overlord, kills, I don't know what he killed. He killed three. Oh, he killed three Overlords, sorry, with the Viking and the Liberator. One Hellion loss as Teja marches an army of 20 Marines and Medvacs. But Teja's made with a group of Bailings and then lost a bunch. And then it kept kind of going from there, just building into tech. Around 12 minutes, it looks like Rogue was going to go into Lurkers and Vipers to kind of deal with Teja's things of, I think it was nukes that mech that he was going after. It was like tanks and all this other stuff. This was a game that Teja had nukes. And he landed one at 19 minutes. And then after 19 minutes, it looked like Teja had Ghost on there, and he just pretty much just sniped
Everything.
Little by little, you hear choo, 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 and things were just dying. And it was pretty much like 3 or 4 minutes of him just picking off units, and then at 26 minutes, it was pretty much GG. Rogue couldn't just recover from a bunch of these continuous losses just because Teja was just that good. Game 2, so Teja wins game 1. Game 2, Teja starts with Reaper Harass. He gets a nice amounts of harassment. And then Rogue takes into Muta Bailings. And then at 7 minutes or 6.5 minutes, he picked off 8 Hellions, which leads into him just Muta harassing back and forth. Let's see. Then at 10 minutes, it looked like there was a battle between the Muta Banes and Lings against Marines, Medevac, and Thors. Rogue gets good harass damage throughout. At 16, it seems like that's kind of like the pace of that game is mainly just those 3 units going for each one. Teja again with Marine, Medevacs, and Thors. Rogue with Mutas, which are Mutalisk, Bailings, and Speedlings. And they kind of stayed like that for a big time. And then Rogue goes into Ultralisk, or tries to go into Ultralisk, gets a couple Ultralisk scouts, and then just doesn't engage with them correctly and loses 3 Ultralisks pretty quick.
Yeah.
But somehow he was able to recover. He got favorable exchanges, and he winds up winning game 2 at like a little over 20 minutes. And then at game 3, Teja starts with 6 Hellions and Hellbats, but doesn't get any value. At 6 minutes, I do remember this one. He wanted to go for Hellbat harass for whatever reason, and even the commentators were like, "Why is he doing this? This is a bad thing to do."
It's not because. Can I talk for a second?
Go ahead.
Against Zerg, they're fast, they're cheap. You don't want to go Hellbats. You're better off just sticking with Hellions. A, for the speed. B, for the area of damage. And then C, again, speed. You could just get out of there really quick. With Hellbats, you're kind of stuck, especially if you get surrounded.
Okay. So that's what ended up happening in that game. I do recall that. And it just seemed like Teja couldn't recover after that. He got like a couple units out, but it just really wasn't worth anything. And since he didn't get any value at the beginning for that, like no drones, no nothing. He got like a couple Zerglings which are cheap, and you're meant to throw them out. And then Rogue went into Mutalisk, and that was pretty much it. It was GG after that. So then match 3, it's the winners of the first 2 matches, which ended up being Rogue and Solar, which is a ZVZ. It looks like both of these were super quick at 8 minutes. It looks like both. No, sorry. So let me see. So starting off with Rogue versus Solar ZVZ Winners match. It starts off normals, 2 Expos, Roach, Lynx, Banes. At 6 minutes, there's some good exchanges for Rogue. But Solar defends and upgrades faster. So after a good defense, he is technically ahead due to upgrades. At 8, Rogue attempts an aggressive attack with Ravages Roaches, but Solar teched into Mutas and is unable to defend with minimal effort. GG, as Rogue has no anti-air after losing the battle. So I think I do remember this with Solar being just far ahead. I think he had like 1-1 or 2-1 in his upgrades for Roaches, but didn't have anything to do with anti-air. And then once Solar went into Mutas, there was nothing there to kind of kill anything. So that was pretty much it. And then game 2, both start off with Ling Bane. Solar commits more Banes early on, scaring Rogue into following up with more Banes of his own, but Solar switched into Roaches. At 7, hits a timing attack. At 8, it's GG. So it looked like that was pretty quick too. Solar advanced on the winner's side as a Zerg to the round of 16. Match 4, which is the first loser, so that's loser semis, is Teja versus Super, which is a TVP. At 4:30, Tasia attempts Widow Mine drops and scouts Super's Dark Shrine. Doesn't matter. Super does pretty good damage despite the scout. So at that point, I think early on, Super tried to go for Dark Templars.
Yeah.
Super early. And it was scouted kind of early on. And even with the scout, Tasia didn't seem to really have anything. He defends, but he doesn't really have anything like to stop that. Because I think he wound up killing like something like, 10 SCVs or 10...
Yes.
Yeah, 10 SCVs. He just went in there and just... That's all you hear. After the defense, Tasia teched into Mech, while Super teched into Charge Lots, Colossi, and Stalkers. And then at 12 minutes, we have Tasia loses most of the Biomarines early on. Super goes on afterwards to get bases. Tasia attempts to defend, but large amount of tanks. Large amount of tanks. At that point, Super blinks on top of the tanks and gets I think it was on the ramp.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to march him on, and then Super turned on him and just blinked all his stalkers on top of the tanks. And again, just to explain, blink tech is a Protoss term. No, there it goes.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, so damn, I don't even know what we missed. Anyways, he blinked. We'll see what happens. He blinked on top of the tanks, and it was GG. Super wins game 1. Game 2, Tasia attempts to proxy racks Reapers and sneaks an SCV into the rear of Super's main. Attempts a bunker rush, but was unsuccessful with that. Once he was defended against that, Tasia follows up with 3 Reaper harass, gets some good picks, and attempts a Widow Mine drop. I don't think he got anything off of that either. And then Tasia goes MMM, which is Marines, Marauders, and Medvacs, with a couple tanks versus Stalkers, Colossi, and Charge Lots on Super's end. Small engagement at 9. Nothing really happens. At 11, Super aggro's on Tasia. So Army loses battle. So Super tries to get really aggressive with Tasia at 11. Doesn't get anything out of it. Again, at 14, later on, he tries to get super aggressive again. Doesn't get anything out of it. At 15, he aggro's once more. And this time, I think he did kind of a similar move where he blinked on top of the tanks. Or he was able to get some tanks.
Yeah.
And he won that battle. At 17, at late game, at 17 minutes in, Super loses his 6th expansion. Through the battle, Tasia was upgrading his army. A final battle takes place at 19. Army upgrades too much. So I think it was just those constant things where, even though they were constantly battling, Super seems to have forgotten about his upgrades at that point. And then he ran into, I think, 3 Marines.
Yeah, he just stopped at 2-2. I don't think he got Lance.
I don't even think he got up to 2-2. I think he got to 1-1 or something like that. He kept producing army. He just forgot about the upgrades. And then Tasia just melted him at that point. So that was game 2. Tasia wins game 2. Game 3. So now that particular game is tied 1-1. Going on to game 3, Tasia starts with a proxy racks Reaper pressure. Doesn't lead to much. Tasia follows up with Banshees as super counter as super counters with Stalkers. Decent exchanges for Super. Tasia builds a mech army. At 11, Tasia impatiently loses units, super aggro counter, play picks off a command center, then goes for the kill. GG, Tasia's eliminated. So basically, Tasia tried to rush in, got defended. Super pretty much just counterattacks with some aggro. Super aggressive play, and he gets a command center. I think he might have gotten the 3rd expansion at that point or something like that. And it was just too much for Tasia, so he winds up losing that. Then the 5th match, which I was I hope this doesn't last long, which winded up being a replay of match 1.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it went. That's kind of how it went. And same as first match, Solar moves on to round of 16. Loser side. So then at that point, we have Solar and... So it was 2 Zergs that moved on, was it not? Rogue and Solar, pretty much?
Yep.
Yeah, so Rogue and Solar, two Zergs from Group C move on to that. Okay, cool. So that was last Friday.
Yep.
And then Group D was this past Thursday. And this was actually a pretty good group, but it didn't lead to great games.
No.
So for this one, we had Deer and DRG and Dream versus SOS, which just having DRG and SOS on that, I thought we were going to see like some really good.
Those are two of the biggest names in StarCraft.
Ever. Yeah. Like, it's not even just like currently, it's like ever. Especially StarCraft 2. SOS really made his name in StarCraft 2 early on. I mean, he is a BlizzCon champion, GSL champion twice. He won back to back, did he not? I think no.
It was him and then Jaedong and then him again.
Okay. So 2 out of the 3 he ended up winning.
Well,
either way, but he won twice. He did win twice. Yeah, so I guess let's just go. So this was this past Wednesday morning. No, sorry. Tuesday morning for us. Wednesday afternoon for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then game 1, GRG made a ton of lings, killed buildings.
That was it.
That was it. He pretty much just made a bunch of lings and harassed, and that was pretty much the game. And then game 2, Deer attempted to start a depth harass, gets defended. DRG attacks with roaches, ravagers, speedlings.
GG.
I mean, that was a quick match. That was another one that was just super quick. He just couldn't get anything going. So DRG has won. When there, Deer, the Protoss, winds up losing. So for match 2, it was Dream Terran versus SOS Protoss. Game 1, SOS had a nice start, but was unable to cause early damage. Dream pulls SCVs with his tanks, Marines, Medvacs, and a couple of Vikings. SCVs were... I do remember this. This is the one where I think like before 10 minutes he had like a nice little army, and he just calls in like half of his SCVs.
Yes.
And then he went into SOS's army that had charge lots in it, but the charge lots were stopping at the SCVs because that's who they would charge to. So then they would just get hit by the Marines or the tanks or whatever else was on there. So the SCVs were just enough, basically cannon fodder to be sacrificed. They were sacrificial lambs at that point, and it was just enough of a meat shield to prevent SOS from doing the damage that he needed. Dream wins that, so he's up. Game 2, Dream starts with Proxy Factory into SOS's base, causes minimal damage. I do remember this one. Remember off the edge, we're like, is he going to do it? And he flies the factory into like that little corner. That was pretty sweet. But nothing really happened out of that. SOS attempts to harass with Blink DTs, causes minimal damage. First big fight sees SOS miss micro his stalkers, loses all of them. GG, Dream wins 2-0. That was another quick match as well. So then Dream won. So now the winners match, which is match 3, was Dream Terran versus DRG, who is a Zerg. Game 1, Dream starts with Proxy 4 racks, DRG unaware but defends. Dream had no follow-up after being defended. GG, I do remember this one again. He built 4 racks into really deep into the side of DRG. DRG scouted that super late, but was able to get a couple spines out there, some queens and some Zerglings, and was just able to defend that no problem, and then just kind of marched his army over to the other side of the map.
Yep. And anyone who's playing Zerg, look at DRG. He made spines. That's yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, out of all the pools, he's the only one that made spines, and he was able to defend. And this goes back to what we were saying was, yes, it's initially an expensive one, but because of this, like if it wasn't for that one spine, I guarantee you those Marines do a lot more damage, because that one spine, I think like a spine does almost half of a Marine's thing. So
it's ridiculous.
Health. Yeah. So I mean, if you do that plus a couple like Zerglings, like you have to micro that so much, like just having that little bit, like whether it's spores or spines, like you have one of those two, it's just that extra bit of damage that you have to micro against. That's a lot better than say like just standalone queen, standalone whatever early on. But yeah, he did make spines, and that was a difference right there.
Yeah.
So then DRG wins game 1. Game 2, Dream starts strong with 1 Firebat, BC opening, which is battle cruiser, defended, but too much for DRG. So I think this was one of those weird ass ones where Firebats did wind up working, because he got a couple Firebats and he was getting some good damage, but that battle cruiser made a little bit more difference, because everything that the Firebats weakened, the battle cruiser was able to just kind of kill or just get to a point where like they died, from a follow-up attack. And because of that damage and that early on aggression, Dream winds up winning game 2, and now it's tied 2-2. And then game 3, Dream starts again with the Hellbat push, but it was defended this time. Constant mini battles. But Dream kept making hell bets
Yes.
beyond this. So he had some in the mid game. And then he switched to a more traditional tech, which ended up being Marines Medevac, Thors, and a couple Widow Mines versus Speedlings, Baylings, and Mutalisk. Dream picks off Ultra Cavern, delaying DRG's tech, GG. So after that, I remember that he ended up taking like his third or something like that. He got the Ultralisk Cavern, like, what was it, like a couple seconds before he was finishing the Carapace upgrade for Ultralisk.
Yeah.
And then, and I mean, that's enough. Once you stop an upgrade, especially for something like Ultralisk, which is expensive, but without that extra upgrade, they're kind of like whatever. So then DRG winds up losing. Dream wins 2-1. He moves on winner's side to round of 16. And then the loser semis, which was Deer versus SOS. This was a PvP. SOS proxy Stargates Oracle lands a stasis on 2/3 of Deer's harvesters. That was a nice stasis.
That was nice.
That was a nice stasis. I do remember seeing that. Like, look, he's doing it right. And that means like 2/3 of his, they weren't harvesting gas or minerals for, what is it?
21 seconds.
Oh, God, that's so stupid. That's so dumb. Okay, so SOS proxy Stargates Oracle land stasis on the harvesters the last 21 seconds. But Deer shakes it off, builds an army of stalkers. GG. There was no follow-up. I don't know how you lose it when they can harvest for 21 seconds, but he ended up losing. Game 2, Deer miss walls his base. SOS gets 2 adepts in there, kills 4 sentries and 8 pros. That was enough. I do remember that as well. He didn't have a little wall, and then little adepts went in there, and that was it. Just 2 of them. He got so much out of those, and that was pretty much GG. And then game 3, SOS starts adept harass, but Deer unshaken counters with stalkers. GG. So that was pretty much it. And then Deer goes on to face DRG, which was a runback, right, from game 1.
Yes.
So then that was a loser finals. DRG gets good damage off early Lings. Deer tries to counter with the depths, but it's defended. DRG follows up with Ling, Roach Ravager. Gets a good surround on the army. That was GG.
Yeah.
DRG wins game 1. And then game 2, DRG gets Speedlings at 3 minutes, attacks. GG.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the same match. And that seems to be kind of how this goes. So far, it seems that the winners of their individual games are really, really strong.
Yeah.
And then loser finals tends to be one of the losers of the first 2 matches. And then they get their rematch, or they just get another try at one of the winners from the previous ones. And those guys just seem to be really, really strong. I don't think that's changed. No. Right? If you win your first match, you've qualified in either winners or losers. I don't think anybody has broken that. Because even Super, right? Super won his first one, did he not?
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. Yeah, so then tomorrow is Group E?
Yes.
How many more groups do we got?
2 more.
2 more? So then Friday, so next Tuesday will be the last one.
Yes.
All right, cool.
And then it's round of 16.
So most likely next time we do a podcast, we'll have the map. We'll discuss the last 2 groups and then probably have the map of what the round of 16 is going to look like. And we should get some hype out of it. I'm actually pretty excited for the next one. We got Scarlet. Haven't seen her play in forever. I wonder how much she's evolved.
6 years.
It's been a while.
Since I don't know. What was it?
It's been probably about that since I actually even paid attention. Or maybe 4. I want to say it's been 3 or 4 years since I've seen her play. Because I was still kind of deep into it 5-6 years ago. I think I want to say 3 or 4 is the last time. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So, and then from that one, we got Dream, Terran advancing from winners, and DRG, Zerg advancing to round of 16. And again, Group E is at 9:30 Pacific Standard Time, 12:30 Eastern, Friday. You guys can see those live on YouTube on Africa. I know last time I said Africa, but it's Africa. It's AFREEK, so not K.
Not K.
CA.TV channel on YouTube. So you can find them on the YouTube. Those are free, and if you want to watch them afterwards, they always tend to post their VODs no longer than a day later, so you can watch the whole thing, or you can watch it in real time. Again, it's a pretty good time if you're into StarCraft. It's a decent hour. It's not 2:30 or 2:20 in the morning, So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, that was a StarCraft talk, which was a little bit shorter than last, which is pretty good. We're getting better at this. It's not a whole hour. I guess leading into this, do you have anything you want to add, or you want to?
Group D was a disappointment.
It was. I thought it was gonna produce better matches, but it did not. And it was kind of one of the shorter pools we've seen actually.
Yeah.
Because it was over by what 5?
5:30.
5:15, 5:30, and then the ones before this, Group C, lasted until like 6 something.
Yes.
I know it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but in StarCraft, that's a lot of time. That's like another 2 matches right there, or maybe a little bit more. One really good match. That was the difference. Yeah. Anything else you want to add on top of this, or no?
No.
Okay. Cool. So how you been holding up?
I've been doing better.
Sweet.
It's not as hard. I just want to play golf.
I want to play golf. So I guess spinning off of that golf. I've mentioned in the podcast and a couple other videos, I've kind of become like the golf dad, which I never thought I would become. Just I didn't grow up with golf. Like I started messing with golf in the 7th/8th grade, and that was about the time that Tiger Woods won the Masters, and I was like, oh my God, Tiger Woods. Like everybody that was a minority all of a sudden was into golf and started teaching golf because of Tiger Woods and a bunch of these different schools, and that's when I got into it. I didn't really get past much into it. I was gonna try for the high school team, but I didn't have the grades to play high school golf, so I just didn't. Chipping seemed to be my big forte. Nothing else really. But what got you sticking with golf? Because I do recall your interest in golf. I remember how it started with us was basically Hot Shots Golf was the main thing. But what made you stick with it in terms of like everything that we tried? Because me myself, I tried getting into baseball, basketball, football, like
you tried to get me into those too.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like I tried to get you into those because those were ones that were more familiar for me. Like those were the ones that I was better equipped to possibly teach you a little bit more. Like golfing, the only thing I really taught you from golf was like how to chip, and how to swing like an iron, because like my driving was trash. It's still, depending on how I make contact, is still pretty trash. But what made you stick with it?
Well, in 6th grade, I was with the TGR Learning Lab with their golf program, and it was then that I thought how much this really could stick with me. Like I could travel all around California, and then I think it was like 2 months later, I started getting into golf with the SCGA Junior.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things we did was 4 weeks, 4 different courses. And that's when I started getting into like, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is my calling.
But what about golf made it that for you? Because like this was one of the things outside of even music that you stuck with. Taking the extra classes, like you said, going to TGR, being part of the what's the other organization you're part
SCGA?
of? SCGA. Is it juniors or just SCGA?
Juniors.
Yeah, SCGA juniors with all the great coaches. And again, tiered. Is it TGR?
TGR.
SCGA juniors. All of them have great coaches. All of them, like literally, I have nothing but respect for just the amount of time and expertise that they're willing to put into the children and everything like that. But what about this golf in particular that just made it stick
to
you?
I am a naturally born extrovert. I don't like to stay in the house. I like to go out and interact with people. And I feel like that's the main, like, big thing about golf, that it's one of the sports that's less about the game and more about the social aspects. Like, it's how do I put it? It's the least competitive sport. Like, when you're with football, baseball, basketball, you don't really care about the other team. You just want to win. But with golf, it's like I feel like there's a greater amount of respect for the other player than in like all these other like team sports and like volleyball and things like that. Like bowling could also be classed into that, but I feel like when you're golf, you're just out playing, and I feel like that's what made me stick with golf.
So when you say the amount of respect, what do you mean in terms of that when it comes to your competitors? Like, what is it about the sport and the way you see it played, not just at your level, but at even the pro level? Like, we haven't watched a lot of pro basketball, but me and you have watched a lot of pro football,
Football.
even college football. And we did watch some pro golf. But what do you mean in terms of like respecting or respect of the other players?
Like in like basketball, baseball, football, like it's more of like the outside sources, like the fans and the commentators that really like commend you. It's not really like your opponents, but in golf, that is like one of the big factors when it comes to golf. Like respect for everything and everyone.
So like basically the group that you play in.
Yes.
Okay, because so I guess what I think I understand what you mean. So like, so if you have like say like a group of people, because usually you play it in groups of threes or fours.
Hmm.
Everybody within that group, even though they're trying to beat you, they still have to be respectful of the amount of play and everything else.
Yeah.
Where like in basketball, football, whatever the case may be, that respect doesn't really seem to come into account until maybe after the game is over.
Yes.
Because it's just super competitive. Like you're trying to kill the next person. I mean, there's no other way to really put it. You're trying to dismantle them. You're trying to do all that. Okay, I could kind of see that. So why did that type of format lead you to sticking with golf instead of like let's say football? Because I mean, me and you are really big into football.
Yeah.
What made you stick with that type of, I guess, friendly competitive format as opposed to like a highly competitive aggressive format until the very end?
Yeah. I don't like to be aggressive. Like in fifth grade, I tried karate at my school, and I stuck with it. Got an orange belt somewhere here. And then I got sick for a while and didn't attend these classes for like 2 months. And then when I finally started to get back in, my what's the word? My passion for it just sort of faded away. And so that's when I thought like, yeah, I don't like to do this. That's why I don't like football or baseball or basketball or soccer. But golf, it's something different entirely. Just the amount of respect that the players have for each other is something that I really like to do.
No, and I see that because I know like you go out there and you golf with a bunch of your buddies, and it never really becomes like this whole aggressive like I'm way better than you. Like of course there's always going to be like those individuals who just see this as their way into college or way into money as a pros or whatnot, and they tend to kind of be the more like, oh, I'm better than you, I'm gonna do this. But at the end, it like you said, like you have to go out into the field and you really can't be like this aggro aggressive, I'm gonna knock your head off type of dude off in the golf course, because the golf rules are different than. So what is it about? I guess pro sports where like you don't like to play those sports yourself because of the way it is, but you like to watch them. So why is there a difference for you in that scenario where you like to watch pro football but you wouldn't want to play football? So what changes for you mentally in watching that?
Yeah. Like, I think most of it has to do with the fact that I have asthma. Like, you see these football players getting hit everywhere. And I feel like one good hit, like, here, and I could die. I feel like that sort of danger isn't in golf. Like,
Is it just that danger aspect? But I mean,
yeah.
but looking at the professionals, I mean, you're getting hit all the time.
Yes.
We've seen people bust their knees and bust. I mean, the risk for injury is still there. So what for you? So you said that you don't like just the physicality of it on yourself because you have asthma, you have conditions where you feel like this is probably a bigger danger for you than would normally be. So, but what about knowing the dangers that could possibly happen? Why do we still watch this? Like I watch it because I love the sport.
Me too. That's why I watch it.
Okay. But do you ever have like this fear or like just do you watch it with a shred of like concern for the people who are out there performing for you, like who are out there putting, because I mean you see it, it's a physical sport, like
yes.
it, like do you have that same concern that one day one of these players that you like to watch is just going to be injured and it's going to
like especially when you can hear them get hit. Yeah. Like, it's always concerning to see these players get hit and think like, man, this is their life
So why do we watch it?
because we like the sport.
It's kind of like the whole thing of like you're gonna accept it even if you know what dangers are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen some players just get messed up. I mean, I've seen some gnarly injuries. I think the last really gnarly one was Alec Smith about a season and a half ago. He got his shin broken. He got tackled from the back. He hasn't been on the field since. He's been out for like a whole like season and a half. Before that, this guy never really became like a big star like I thought he would. I believe he was a running back from Miami. And it was either during the Orange Bowl. I want to say it was the Orange Bowl. I forgot what team they were playing, but it was damn, what was this guy's name? His last name was McGahee. I can't remember his first name. I think it was like Terrence McGahee or Willis McGahee. I can't remember. He was a running back for Florida.
All right.
And he caught a ball coming out the edge, and he got tackled, but he got tackled like around his knee area. Unfortunately, the cleats kind of stuck into the ground, so his knee kind of hyperextended backwards while he was getting tackled. And then he wound up getting drafted by the Buffalo Bills. But like this dude was deemed as a top 10 prospect, and he had dropped down to the very end of round one. He had an okay career, but everybody figured this dude was gonna be the next big thing. And like the thing is, he could have been, but like that injury just it was crazy. Cool. So that's what kind of got you sticking and took off. Yeah, because it's not that. I mean, me and you have talked about this, and I've never really questioned it. I just like the fact that you have something you're dedicated to. It's just kind of a crazy thing of. I never thought myself to be a golf dad, and now we're out there doing golf things, and I keep in touch with a bunch of golf social networks and stuff like that just to see what's out there and what's gonna happen. All right, cool. And during this quarantine time, we've also watched a lot of TV. Most recently, it seems like we got into a bunch of what's his face game shows. Why are we watching a ton of game shows?
I have no idea. They're just appealing, I guess.
Because there's some that I like watching with you because I like them. And there's other ones that we watch and I'm just like, I don't really care. But you seem to be kind of enamored with them. Yeah. So what is it about? Like, so I guess one of the ones that I just don't really care for as a big thing is like The Floor is Lava on Netflix.
Yeah.
What is it about that particular show? Because I'm just like the first time it was kind of cool, and then I just don't care. Like I know they changed the way that the maps are from episode to episode, but for me, it's something that I would rather try than to watch people try. Like the first time was kind of interesting, then I don't care about it. What made you kind of like want to kind of stick on watching this?
The suspense, mainly. Like when it comes to these game shows, there's always a sense of like, what's gonna happen. That's what I like about them.
What about for Ultimate Tag, which is on Hulu?
Oh, that one's amazing. It's very fast paced, and again, there's a sense of like what's this? It's like watching Starcraft. There's a lot going on, but you can is it? I don't know. But there is a lot.
However you see
there is a lot going on.
I'm not really that interested in it. Like I see that it's fast paced and like I like it. I guess like Ultimate Tag for me isn't like a bad show.
It's just cheesy.
No, the one thing I don't like about it is the way they set up the first round in particular. The first round is the thing that bothers me the most because like you got 3 people who are in a map, a tagger comes in, and then we've seen this where like the first tagger will come out and like focus on one of the contestants, and then this contestant is running around for like a minute and a half back and forth, and like it's nonstop. He gets tagged first, but he gets the least amount of points, even though he put in the most work.
Yep.
And then you'll see like 2 and 3 come in, and they get tagged super quick, but they get more points because they were able to quote unquote last the first guy longer, but they really didn't. And that's my thing. That's why I just like that little thing is one of those things that I think should have been addressed before it got sent to production.
It would have been if it was like a one-on-one thing.
Maybe, or just like we talked about, just like as soon as a tagger pinpoints a certain contestant, like start a timer.
Yeah. And
like that guy gets credit for lasting the longest without being tagged. If if you can show that he's being aggressively pursued by a tagger, time it. How long does he last under, like, I guess, like pursuit mode or pursuit time or whatever the case may be? Because, like I said, we've seen people who get chased for like a minute, minute and a half, but they get the least amount of points, and then like like contestant 2 and 3, they get pinpointed on and they're tagged in the first like 10, 15 seconds, but they get the most points because they outlasted and
yeah.
they were able to not be the focus point for like this amount of time. So that's the one thing that kind of gets me about that one. Everything else about it isn't bad. Like you said, it's kind of quick, but to me it's a little bit too cheesy with like the characters having like nicknames, and some of these nicknames are just, they're ass. Like, that's the best way. Like, they're just ass, dude. Like,
Iron Giantess.
oh my god, dude. Like, what the hell was somebody, like, that's just a mouthful. Like, what the hell are you thinking with a name like that? Like, and again, nothing against the person who plays Iron Giantess. I think she's really, like, she's strong, she's quick and everything, all that. Like, all the respect to her being, one of those. But it's just like the name, the moniker that just to perform under. It's just an ass tag. Like, dude, if I saw that tag, like, on the PS4 or Steam, like, Iron Giantess, like you better be into Metalworks. Like, I need to see you, like, literally, like, making katanas or shields or something along the lines of, like, at that point, be like, okay, cool, Iron Giantess. Like, I can see this as a play on the Iron Giant. It's like manufacturing steel, or a lot of my art is steel-based or iron-based. Like, I can see that. But when it comes to ultimate tag, and I'm like, this is ass.
This is not, no.
This is, yeah. So, I mean, that's the one thing that, like, again, not a bad show. It's just something that just, those little things just irk me into not watching it.
Okay, a little off topic, but with Flame, every time she has a little, like, foof out of the hand, and they found, like, the lowest quality, like, flame, like, effect to use on her.
And I think that's part of what they were going for, like the old, like, 80s,
like American
cheesy...
Gladiators.
Nah, don't you ever. American Gladiators was the shizzle. I don't know, and I guess another show that kind of falls into that kind of like cheesy 80s persona that we've been watching a lot is Don't.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a problem with this show. And again, these are shows we're watching on Netflix and Hulu, but like Ultimate Tag and Don't, we see on Hulu. I think they're on Fox normally.
Well, Ultimate Tag is Fox. Don't is on ABC.
Okay, but they're ultimately on Hulu in case you don't get like standard TV. You don't have a cable subscription. So Don't is another one. Like, I don't have an actual problem with the host being as cheesy as he is, which is Adam Scott. Which to me, he will always be Griff from Boy Meets World.
To me, he'd be Ben from Parks and Rec.
So I don't have a problem with how cheesy he is, how everything goes. The thing that kind of gets on my nerves is that second commentator, like the voice in the sky.
Yeah.
That does like the backstory on the Don't button and the whack ass infomercial commercials that are within the show itself. Like, I just don't like that voice. Like, I don't know why. Like, I feel like they're trying to do kind of like The Price is Right. Yes. Like the guy that would what was his name? Ronnie Rule. I can't remember his name, but anyways, like that type of voice when he would call, like, Samantha Perkins, come on down. But that wasn't the actual host, and then the host, and then it'd be like, what do we have for them? It's a brand new car. Like, and that scenario, like that voice in the sky kind of compliments the host. But I don't feel like the voice in the sky for this particular show compliments what the host is doing. It just kind of seems like it's extra. And it's too much for me. Like, I'm just going like, damn, shut up. Just, this is like 5 minutes that this show doesn't have to last, and I just don't like it. But the show itself has some pretty good I actually like it. And this is one of those things like where we saw Titan Games 1, and the formula wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad formula, but it seemed kind of maybe unfair in a way, because the contestants would get one shot to move on. And sometimes it could be like an event that just wasn't into their strong suit. Maybe more agility, maybe more strength. And with Titan Games 2, the contestants are facing the 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And again, like the some of the events are a little bit similar, but some of them changed. But I like the fact that one of them might be just straight raw strength, and the other one would be like a combination of speed and strength. And one of them might just be like the agility, like that walk kick one. The one where the
launch pad.
The one, is that the one? The one with the 4 walls that hang.
Yes.
And then you gotta like swing back and forth and kick them off of the thing.
That's the one.
All right, cool. So like that one's not really like, that one's more technique than anything else. Like, yeah, you have to be physically strong to kick those, but it seems like that's more technique based than anything else. Something like Lunar Impact is pretty much just, it starts off with speed, but then once the contestants are battling one another, it's basically just raw strength. Like, how long can you last at pushing? Yeah. So I like that. There's that tug of war one. There's one with like the fencing where you have to climb the fence and then pull. So like it's just that like little change, but I like the fact that it's 2 out of 3 because we've seen it where like they go to a third game. Sometimes you just don't because just the other contestant is just physically better at everything than the other person. It's just kind of how life is. But that one seems to be my favorite so far. I haven't really watched one where I go, okay, I can watch this. I want to watch this. That one seems to be, and I guess part of it too is just because we went to a filming of Titan Games 1, which was awesome.
Yes. And
then just The Rock. He just seems like, I grew up with The Rock. Like, I remember watching this dude in WWF, then later became WWE, and being what was it, Rocky Marciano or Rocky. Damn, I can't remember how he came in, but it was Rocky something. That's how he came into the WWF. And then later it just became The Rock. And then it was like, that's kind of how he stayed. He stayed being The Rock for like a long ass time. And like, I follow him on Instagram and just seeing him talk and everything else. He just seems like a very genuine dude. Like, this was kind of like a passion project for him to help people kind of reach some sort of like sports goal, or like something off their bucket list, where people, used to play basketball, used to do this, or maybe people just work out all the time and never really hit the big time for whatever reasons. But like, now you can be something, even if it is for like your 15 minutes, you just become a Titan for your 15 minutes. And maybe that's all we see ever of you, but you're able to achieve your 15 minutes. And it seems like that's kind of what he was going for this. And it overall, to me, it's a really good show. I really do like it a lot. I think this game out of all games is probably the next evolution of like American Gladiators, but without the cheese. We don't have a laser and a taser and a nitro. But you do still have like the contestants that have to go out there and battle it out. And then at the end, you kind of have to do like the gauntlet. I think was the last stage in American Gladiators, where you have to do like a bunch of like skills. And I think the last battle where it's the winning contestant versus the Titan or the defender of that round is, like, I like the way it plays out. It kind of has like the same flow as American Gladiators, without the cheese. And then you have The Rock, who's just awesome. I hope nothing bad ever comes out on this dude, because I'm gonna feel really bad cheering for this dude, and then all of a sudden he was like this creep, and I hope that's never the case. I hope this dude is genuinely a really, really good guy, because to me that would be one of the most heartbreaking ones if he ended up being like a fucking creep. But so far so good, really, really good guy so far. Hopefully it stays that way. So we went through the shows. Another thing we've been doing over this quarantine is we've been watching a lot of movies.
Yes.
For us, well, for me and your mom, me and her have been watching a lot. We watched a lot of Marvel MCU movies.
Yeah.
You did not have an interest in watching a lot of the MCU movies. Like, the only ones you were interested in were Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 and Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Those were the only ones you generally showed interest in. You didn't have any interest in the Avenger movies. You didn't have any interest in Civil War or any other one. I think the only other one that you were kind of interested because of Paul Rudd was Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
And we saw Ant-Man. We haven't seen Ant-Man and Wasp yet, have we? Or did we watch that one already?
We did.
Did we? We did.
That was.
Oh, we did, because that was right before That's how he gets stuck in the thing.
Quantum Zone.
Have we watched Endgame?
Yes.
We watched Endgame. Okay. So
Spoilers ahead in case you haven't seen any of these movies.
they're all on Netflix or on Disney Plus, so they're out there and they've been out for over a year. So now that like that bridge or threshold for spoilers is kind of out. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about some of what's happening. Um. So how do you gauge your interest in the MCU movies now, as opposed to like before watching these movies?
It's definitely increased. Like, I think it's just something about just the universe that they built. But I had no interest because I felt like they were just gonna be all like serious movies, not have like a shred of lightheartedness. That was mostly my big turnoff.
See, I'm the opposite. I like my comics to be a little bit darker because, like, we haven't seen them. We probably will watch them soon. The what's this dude's name?
Nolan North?
No, the hell is this dude that makes the Batman movies? Nolan.
Sorrento? No.
No. Is it this guy? No, that's not him. I think you might be right though. It might be North actually. No, it's not. Who directed? I know it's Nolan something. Jeez, I'm like really bad at this. There we go. Let me see. Who is the director of this?
Christopher Nolan.
There we go. Yeah, director Christopher Nolan. That guy. So the Christopher Nolan trilogy of Batmans are a little bit more on the darker side. They don't really have a lightheartedness to it, but like part 2 is my favorite of that trilogy. The Dark Knight. God, Heath Ledger's Joker is so godlike in that.
It's a shame, honestly.
But they're a little bit darker than the light one. So we haven't seen. I think you've probably seen Dark Knight with us like a long time ago, but we haven't seen like the whole trilogy. So we'll go back and watch the whole trilogy so we can kind of gauge it. So now knowing, is there a little bit of a fear that there'll be no lightheartedness in it? Because they're not.
No, not anymore.
Okay. But you like it. But you like that from a Marvel. So what changes for you then? If that's a scenario, what changes for you in terms of like you like the lightheartedness of like say Marvel movies, but something like it not being so lighthearted is okay for Batman or DC in general.
Because that's their general character. Like, Batman isn't really... Sorry. Batman is more of like a dark, brooding, like not really a comic.
Darkness. No parents.
Yeah, that's just his character.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of expecting that from...
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no interest in the 5th Avengers movie, though.
What about... I don't think we've seen it, but like for me... the DC animated movies have always been godlike, and like there's this new one called Apocalypse War. It's an animated one. I just saw it at Target and I heard about it. House of Chaos. One of the dudes from the House of Chaos, Bum's house, where they do the Dragon Ball tournaments, mentioned it. And shout out, even though they probably won't hear this ever, but shout out to the House of Chaos, Bum. All you cats in the East Coast running Dragon Ball online tournaments or even tournaments, man, that community right there it's a beautiful thing to see, man. That's old school right there. Just watching the rivalries, watching the mutual respect grow from those rivalries, and just having a place where you can talk mess and back it up with some skills, and having those skills kind of come out and do your thing. Man, that's what fighting games are all about right there. That community, that build up, that just putting time and effort into it, man. I gotta give a shout out if anybody's listening to this. Look them up on Twitch, House of Chaos. You can find them at Bum163 on Twitter. I believe he's on the Instagram as well at Bum163. But yeah, House of Chaos, Bum. All you cats that are out there doing your thing, man, I respect it. Even during this quarantine time, it's kind of been like the normalcy for me to kind of just keep up with that scene in particular. And I respect that, and I respect the hustle. So hopefully you guys have nothing but big things after this is all said and done and over. But yeah, that was pretty sweet. But yeah, they mentioned it on their thing, and I saw the box, and for me, like, I remember like Superman Doomsday was a cartoon godlike. I saw some of the The Justice League movies, godlike. The Batman ones, man, those are some of my favorite. Like Batman Beyond, I think it was like the Joker Returns or the Return of the Joker, godlike. The DC animated series for that was on Fox Kids for Batman, that's like one of my favorite cartoons ever. Marvel, not so much. Like the only ones that really struck with me with Marvel from my youth are the X-Men cartoon and the Spider-Man cartoon.
Which?
Oh, dude, the Spider-Man cartoon was godlike. But it was the one from Fox Kids.
Oh.
I think it was made like a year or two after, because the animation was a little bit better. But I like those a lot. But outside of that, I'm kind of hard pressed to find like a Marvel cartoon that I really, really like. Like I've seen some. Like I saw Wolverine versus Hulk. I saw some of like those versus movies. I think we bought like an Adventures cartoons, but I just don't care to watch them because
I honestly didn't even know they existed.
I don't even like. I don't know, but like if I see like a new DC one, like the Batman ones or like a Justice League, and people say they're good, dude, I love the DC one. Like the DC animated movies to me are like way above anything Marvel animated has ever done. If you exclude Into the Spider-Verse, because Into the Spider-Verse was godlike. I love that movie. That movie is great. Okay, so we'll probably catch up on those and watch it. We still got The Killing Joke on Blu-ray. Gotta watch that.
Still haven't, yeah.
We still haven't opened. Still in the plastic. Okay, cool. So we talked about that. We talked about this. What else can we talk about, man? This is gonna be really, really short. So we got good news from your doctor. We can possibly go golfing. It's just now it's trying to find a. It'll probably be like 2 weeks. Part of the reason is, I guess, going with everything else.
Everything's closing again.
Yeah, this is going to be kind of like coronavirus talk again. California, Texas, Florida, pretty much United States said, we're going to reopen up again. Just people, please keep into account social distancing. Please keep wearing your face mask. You're at a timeout, but, just take into precautions. Nobody did. People heard open. And somehow coronavirus disappeared from being a contagion. And now we're back up again. We're seeing spikes. A friend of mine's on Instagram has been studying some of the graphs and numbers. He is a programmer. I believe he works at JPL, actually. And he says, according to like some of the models that he's studied and some of the numbers that he's that the death toll has been declining a little bit, but also with the treatment and people being treated better for coronavirus, that he's estimating in his like research and his success, or not in his success and his research and in his like estimations and everything else, that the death rate is probably 10 days behind the contagion date. So meaning that people who test positive today, it'll be 10 days until that group of people from today, you can see like the percentage of people who caught it and died. It's probably about 10 days. So we probably won't hear about people like the new openings. We'll probably start hearing death rates either spike or not spike so much by 4th of July weekend. Like 4th of July weekend will kind of be like that first weekend of like, hey, if people died from this is going back a week and a half, week or so ago, maybe even a week ago, from the point they contacted it to the point they developed symptoms to either recovery or death. 4th of July will give us a great kind of scale for that. So I guess that's what we're waiting for. I know you're eager to go out there and you still have some of that, but I guess at this point, since you are on that end of you're young, you're eager, I'm more on the other side along with your mom of like, we have to be very cautious because we don't want to see you get sick again. We don't want you to possibly catch this. I mean, for us, we can catch it and deal with it, but like watching you get sick.
For me, it's possibly fatal like in half the time. 'Cause I have asthma, I'm young, so that's the 1-2 punch.
But you see a lot of young people going out there with no mask at skate parks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
who don't have asthma, because there's this sense of like, I can live through anything. So with that in mind, how are you willing? Would you be willing if we allowed it? Because we don't.
Don't.
But like, let's say we didn't care. Would you go to the golf course right now today, even with all the potential dangers of like there's new coronavirus cases, there's everything else. If we allowed it, if we just did not care about it, would you be like, let's go, let's go to the driving range, let's go play golf, let's do everything? Would you risk your own health if we said it should be fine, like don't worry about this, it'll be fine? Would you risk your own health?
That's hard to answer. I think most of it's the fact that I haven't hit a golf ball in 4 months. But yeah, that's a hard question to answer.
But if you had to pick one, you either gonna go golfing or you're not.
Okay.
That's just kind of how that goes.
No.
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 But you debate about
It's
it.
tempting.
But you debate
Yeah.
about it, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing now, and that's the reason we see the spike is that we've been told like, hey, don't party, don't go out drinking, don't do this, don't do that for whatever, and then the microsecond they're like, okay, it's cool again. But it seems by the time the but was said, everybody was like, yeah, party time, let's go out. And it kind of sucks because I was kind of hoping that this 4th of July weekend would be kind of great or at least have like a thing. But like that now at this point, it's like it's scaring me to the point where I don't want to go anywhere. Just I'm okay. I was hoping we could at least social distance some of the things, go out with the fam, go see the fam for a little bit. Because, I mean, we saw grandma yesterday,
Yeah.
which was cool. Even though it was quick. But it, again, I couldn't hug her. You guys stayed away. Same thing when we saw Grandpa, Uncle Steve, Auntie Carol, and that and our other family for Father's Day. Kind of the same thing. We, 6 feet social distance. Me, you, Mom had face coverings on, and this is with family. You know what I'm saying? Like the day before, I had to go pick up soup in the house, and just Athena and Lala, Uncle Mo, and like wanting to come and hug us. And we gotta tell them, no, baby, no, you can't do this. That's been the hardest part of this whole thing. Is just like if we go out to the house, we go do these things. Kind of sucks. I was hoping it would get better, but now it's to the point where like, okay, well, I guess we'll try to see you in August because this is not happening anytime soon. Yeah, because there's times where I wish I could just not really worry about this and go out. I mean, there's been times where I go, man, we should go to the park and go play some basketball. Or yeah, it kind of sucks. That was kind of a bummer. Damn, that was a drag. Let's talk about something else. Anything that's changed in your particular schedule lately that you want to like kind of talk about in a positive way, something that you like doing? I know you started taking those virtual classes.
Yes, those have been fun. Today was my last day.
So did you take them all week or was it just...
It was all week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this was for TGR?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So did you like the fact that your coaches put that together in order for you to kind of do that? It was a little bit of a change of something to look forward to in terms of all this?
Yeah.
That's cool. I heard SCGA might be actually doing that as well.
Yeah.
I think your mom got an email about that, which would be cool. Again, big shout out to all the coaches at SCGA Juniors and TGR. Just you guys are great, magnificent coaches. I got no complaints at all whatsoever. If you're out in the OC area or LA County area, if you're out in the OC area, you're by Anaheim. TGR is a great place. If you're anywhere else, then you're interested in golf. What is it? SCGA?
Yes.
SCGA Juniors is a great organization filled with great coaches, and you might have a higher chance of joining them and playing more stuff if you're anywhere. Pretty much LA County, Orange County, Inland Empire. They seem to have stations everywhere, don't they?
Yeah.
So if you're interested and don't live in the OC and you're kind of far away from TGR, look into SCGA Juniors for your juniors. They have great coaches again, organization, everything else is great. And you might get an opportunity to play courses that we never even thought of. And you might be giving directions to an event at a course where you go, there's a golf course here, because I know that's happened to us a bunch of times. We go, what? There's a golf course here? Like, really? So that's been kind of sweet. And then, yeah, I don't think I have much to talk about.
Me
I
neither.
just kind of want to get to the Starcraft because that's kind of our biggest thing right now. And the last episode was like 2 hours.
Oh wait, I saw something here
What?
in your notes.
What notes? Just scroll.
Right there.
Oh, Heroes. Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah. Cool. So you've been playing Heroes that we talked about.
Yep.
I played. I actually, you know what? I played Heroes yesterday. What was the day you took a nap in my bed? Squeezed me out like 2 days ago. It was Tuesday. That was the day you took a nap for Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Yes. You're right.
So I played Heroes that day for like the first time in a couple of weeks. So I ended up playing Brawl to get my free chest. The chest is still in my collection because I don't want to open it. Because the thing is, you can get anything from a chest, and if I get like a boost, and that's my last game, then
you can get boosts.
Yeah, you can get boost. You can get. I got on like a 7-day boost out of it.
What are they, legendary?
I don't think they. No, it depends how many days you get. I got on a 7-day boost, so I think the 7-day boost was an epic, and then the 1-day boost was just like your standard blue chest. But the thing is, like as soon as you open it and claim it, your boost starts. So I learned that the hard way. I was like, so I'm just not gonna open my chest until like I start playing again, so I can at least use it. Even if I use it for an hour and it's like a 7-day boost, at least I use it as opposed to like I opened it, I'm not gonna play anymore. Well, damn, it ran out.
Yeah.
So who has been your favorite hero lately in Heroes of the Storm?
There's been a lot. I think if we're going by class, I haven't played a lot of support. Like I played Zarya for one game, didn't really work for me. In terms of healers, I sort of fell off of them. Melee assassins, Tassadar didn't work. Or no, sorry, ranged assassins. Tassadar hasn't really worked for me, partly because he's so vulnerable. So I think my favorite ranged assassin has to be. I don't know. It's a 3-way tie between Vala, Hammer, and Probius.
If you had to pick one hero to just play for a continuous amount of time, who would that hero be right now?
Probably Blaze.
Blase.
Yeah.
He's pretty fun. He's not the best tank,
No.
but he's pretty fun. I've had my moments with him. For me, it's Murky. It's always going to be Murky.
Yep.
But in terms of class, I tend to be split because I mean my Murky is godlike, so like it's not really like a class. It's Murky. But in terms of classes, I tend to either favor tanks or healers. Diablo, Muradin are like my top 2 tanks.
I tried Muradin. Didn't really work. Tried Diablo. He's a ton of fun.
I love Muradin. Like once you get really good at Muradin, I just like him because you get to punch people with Haymaker, and it's like the funnest thing is like you jump over them, you stun them with the hammer, and then you just punch the shit out of them, and it's like as the most satisfying thing. Or the thing is like if they get low, they try to chase you, and you're trying to run away. Like you just punch one, and then you just leap out of the way. It's like, and then you just heal automatically. And then for healers,
Lucio.
It's hard to pinpoint one. Lucio is pretty fun. Lily, I like Lily as well.
Yeah.
I think she's very underrated. People think that she's trash.
She's not.
She doesn't heal. But to me, if you build her correctly, the amount of damage that she's able to, especially if you go against an auto attack like composition, like you have like a Vala, Rainer, and some other auto attackers there that are not casters. If you can blind them, like the amount of damage that she's able to just kind of
mitigate
is great.
Yeah.
Like the amount of damage that she mitigates from a Vala, a Rainer, who's the other one that? Oh, a Butcher. If you can mitigate damage on like a full stack Butcher, even for a little bit, that tends to be the difference of that Butcher living or dying. For the most part. The other one that like all of a sudden that made me like healers again was Anduin. You haven't seen him?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, him. Like I think I wanted to play him on Brawl. And I was like, damn, this dude's pretty sweet. And then he was free to play one week while I was playing. I was like, you know what? Let me try Unknown. And I played him, and I was like, damn. I tried him out. I was like, this
Yeah.
is pretty fun. They nerfed him recently, but he's still not bad. The biggest nerf was he has this talent, which is his D talent, where he can actually grab uh, a teammate away from danger, so you can pull him away. So like if he gets stunned or whatever, you can just yank him towards you and make him I believe they used to be like on a 20-second or 30-second cooldown. Now it's an 80-second cooldown, and that is forever.
And nothing lowers it.
No, the only thing you can get is a level 20. You can get 2 charges. Um, I guess that makes a level 20 selection a little bit better, but like yeah, it's 80 seconds. It's kind of
It's too
ridiculous.
much.
But I mean, his healing hasn't really been affected. He's still kind of the same. And I mean, I guess I don't mind it that much. It's just to me, nerfs like that kind of don't make any sense because you have a bunch of characters that by their design have something that mitigates some sort of damage or something like a lot quicker. You know, like you have Darkwing. Deathwing.
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 The big dragon.
Think about duck.
Duckwing.
Yeah, Deathwing has like those talents where like you lose shield, then you mitigate damage for a little bit. He can just fly and mitigate damage.
Yep.
Like he's just, I don't know. That's why I don't like it. Like I can kind of see it, but at the same time, I kind of don't like nerfs of that way. It's just, especially like Fawcett had a similar one. Fawcett has that ability where he can go across the map. Like he can fly. That used to be on I think it started off on like on a 30-second cooldown. Then it got nerfed to like 40 seconds. I think now it's like something like a 60-second cooldown or something like that. Because it was too quick. He was too good. But the thing is, the character himself, like yeah, it sucks when he jumps on you. He's able to kind of combo you.
But that's his character.
But the thing is, he's also very, very light. Like he doesn't take damage well. So it's one of those things like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but I don't know. Heroes nerf because I've had 5 years playing this game off and on. I was there for development. The one thing about this game as a whole that has always not necessarily turned me off, but that kind of I didn't like or haven't liked, and this goes for fighting games too. It really goes to any game that has balances that come out. There are certain characters that come out just way overpowered. They're either too healthy, they're too strong, you can't kill them, whatever the case may be. And I get it. You have to tweak the numbers. You have to adjust the numbers. And then you have characters like Falstad that are not necessarily super strong, but they have like a move that makes a certain amount of sets at high level play more powerful. And then they kind of nerf them to a point where they're not really usable anymore. Like you patch somebody out of the meta, essentially, and you see it in fighting games a lot. You see it in games like this a lot, whether it be League of Legends, Heroes, Smite, whatever the case may be. You always have it's another MMO,
Okay.
RP, or there's another MOBA.
Okay.
But you have games like that. I don't know what games you've actually delved into that have had this type of scenario, but how do you feel about games that actually do that, where you'll see maybe not a super strong character, but like a strong character get just nerfed into oblivion where nobody picks them up anymore? Because to me, that's kind of like the saddest thing to see. Is like you see this character, like, oh, I enjoy playing this character. I enjoy seeing this character being played, and then they nerf them into a point where like they're not being picked up anymore, and somebody else becomes like the new hotness.
Yeah.
This is a more of a your generational thing. I mean, I've lived through half of it, and now I'm starting to see it. But this is more of a your gamer generational thing. How do you feel when you see things like that?
Honestly, I don't really pay attention to patch notes and all that. When something like that happens, you gotta get better. Like even like the lowest, like for example, there's this one guy that plays Pikachu in Melee.
Mm-hmm.
He 4-stocked a fox in under a minute.
So when it comes to that, because like I don't follow a lot of like the Smash community, but I know the Smash community has been one of those have been very outspoken against like Bayonetta when she came out for was it the Wii U version? And she was just godlike.
She was she was too good.
They nerfed her a little bit, but people still picked her.
Yeah.
Seeing her play, and the thing that kind of drives me is like, yeah, when you had like a really good Bayonetta, that Bayonetta usually won because the character was strong. But it wasn't only Bayonetta winning majors. Matter of fact, you would still see Fox, you would still see Jigglypuff, still win majors, still win tournaments. So how does that play out for you in your mind? Because I mean, we went through we went through the same thing when Street Fighter 4 came out. That was my game. Street Fighter 4 was like my de facto game of when I started really following the scene, like following it, wanting to learn everything. And we had Sagat. Sagat was the only S tier character apparently that we had in that game. The main thing with him was that he had a lot of damage and he took a lot of damage. I think he had like 1300 health, which was like the highest in the game by far. He did a lot of damage. But then little by little, he became kind of like the bad guy. And we found tech that can defeat him. Akuma had the Vortex because he was just tall enough to kind of get hit with the crossover helicopter on the other end. And you just kind of found the tech and, like you said, get good. For me, it's always been that. Like, there's just some characters that are just beyond broken. And there's some characters that are strong that, like, I tried Sagat, but he wasn't my thing. And every time I beat a Sagat with Honda, I felt good about it. So when you see that, how do you feel about, like, when you see this guy playing like an overpowered character, a strong character, and he gets beat at a tournament or whatever the case may be, how do you view that? How do you gauge that in a positive for the community that they were able to beat her? Or do you still feel like these strong characters, even though they lost and it was just kind of a uphill battle for the person who won, do you still feel like these characters should be nerfed to make them quote unquote more fair?
No, I think it's mostly skill. Like with like an overpowered character, which at the moment the most OP character in Smash is Hero.
That's the new one they just released.
No,
yes, one of the newest ones from Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now it's Hero, and I haven't.
Check.
There it is.
I don't know why that happens.
It keeps happening. I don't know. Yeah. When it comes to Hero, there's gonna be tech that can eventually counter him, but I don't think he should be nerfed for the fact that he beats everybody. Like, even like characters that were considered overpowered in Smash 4 days, like Diddy Kong.
But talking about this game in particular for the Switch version, so you're saying Hero's overpowered. Is there any character that just has an okay matchup with him? Because by the sounds of it, to me, that's one of those cases where a character should get nerfed. If there isn't tech currently available, where a person can pick a secondary character to kind of tech up against it, and I think that becomes a problem. Because like I said, like Sagat in the 4 days was godlike, but there was tech that evolved from it that you can actually, because like if you were a Zangief player up against that like Sagat, that was I think like an 8-2 matchup or a 7-3 matchup, because literally Zangief couldn't get in on Sagat. Like all Sagat had to do was pace it out, press standing roundhouse, and that was the only button. Zangief couldn't really jump over it because he would get kicked.
Yeah.
He couldn't duck under it because he was too tall. He would get kicked in the dome. So there was really nothing there for him. If a Sagat was good enough to get in, then that was different. And that's where Zangief kind of, that's where his play is inside. Sagat doesn't really have an escape. You can try to toss whatever the case may be. Even for me as a Honda player, didn't really like, it was hard. I think that's like a 7-2, 7-3, 8-2 matchup as well, especially in vanilla days, just the fireballs and everything else. But once I got in, I was in. But there was tech revolving around that where you could pick up like a Ryu, you can possibly pick up Ken, possibly pick up Gaio, somebody with the fireball to try to keep up with him, and that was kind of like the tech that evolved. You have to have a secondary character.
Yeah.
But with this character from Smash, who I really don't know about, it sounds like there isn't that type of tech evolving to defeat him. So if there isn't that tech evolving at that point, shouldn't that character be nerfed a little bit?
Yeah.
Not into oblivion.
Not into oblivion.
But just nerfed
enough
a
to make
bit.
it fair.
So is this character currently banned? Because I know Smash has had that happen
From what
on
I've
a lot of
seen-
things. I know they banned Meta Knight for like the longest time for being overpowered.
Now he's
And I
meh.
was like, whatever. You don't even see him in
You don't.
tournaments.
No, you don't. But yeah, honestly, I don't think Hero's banned. But yeah, since I haven't seen even a decent matchup against him, I feel like there should be a nerf, just a little nerf to make it a little more fair.
Okay. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I see it all the time, and it's just one of those things. Like it frustrates me sometimes, but at the end of the day, I feel like there's just skills that should be tweaked instead of just killed off, right? Which I hate because I've seen it in almost every game, and it always sucks that I like tweaking. And I guess going back to our original video game that brought us in was Heroes of the Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen characters just get nerfed until a point where like you don't see them.
Like Falstad.
Falstad got nerfed like a lot, where you kind of don't even see him. Murky, believe it or not, has been nerfed plenty of times because people thought he was too strong early on. Now they gave him this stupid thing where when you destroy his egg, he has like this big exclamation point over it, and he's pointing out in the map for 15 seconds.
Yeah, that's his
which is trash.
egg cooldown.
And then what was the other thing? His bubble got nerfed as well. Doesn't heal as it used to heal for almost his whole health meter. Now it heals for like half. Same thing with the fish tank, which is 13 ability. That one got nerfed. It used to be 70% of all damage caused would cause healing to him. Now it's 40%, which was down from 50. It used to be whatever. Now it got nerfed. But I'm still godlike with Murky, so I don't really care. But just watching heroes just get nerfed to like not being used anymore, kind of, I don't like that. Where I feel like if you had a team that can go, okay, we're facing off against whatever I guess we'll say Deathwing now, because Deathwing was considered, I don't know how he is considered now, pretty powerful. If you know you're going up against a Deathwing, you can kind of go up against that. And if it's in quick match and he's strong and you have the wrong comp, that's quick match. It's not Hero League. It's not ranked. It's not something you can kind of plan for. Quick match, you pick a character. Everybody's there to pick one certain character.
Yeah.
If everybody picks their character and other people pick Deathwing, sucks to be you, bro. But I've fish slapped the crap out of a Deathwing before, so I can't really call that character OP. To be honest, I don't care if they go, oh, well, that Deathwing sucked, blah 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 blah. Like, you never should have beat him, but I did. So that means that there's a lot of bad. So that means player skill still plays a big part in that matchup for me, because I can fish slap the crap out of a Deathwing. When Phoenix first came out, that matchup for Murky just was not great at all. Even now to this day, Vala, very good counter against Murky. Anybody who does consistent DPS, Rainer, Tychus,
Tracer,
even Deathwing himself, Tracer, it just mitigates so much of Murky's. One, Murky has low health and he tends to melt really, really quick. And then secondly, the fish. There's another thing that got nerfed from Murky, where now it's like 3 hits and the egg dies. Doesn't matter what 3 hits, it's just 3 hits.
It's W or?
Yes, that's his
Okay.
W. Yeah, his bubble is E, but his W, his puffer fish. Now it's 3 hits. If you get the shield, it's 4 hits sometimes. But if it's something like a Vala, doesn't matter. If it's a Tychus, doesn't matter. If it's a Rainer, doesn't matter. It only matters that you have the little, like, 1, 2, 3, like all attacks, like a tank or something that, would be. But anything with the weapon, trace or whatever, fish don't even matter. Illidan simply wipes them out. Leoric is another one that does a lot of damage, wipes it out. So there's always like this constant back and forth, and that character gets nerfed for no reason. A lot of people dropped them. I didn't, because whatever the case may be. But I just want to get your gauge on how do you feel about the actual, like, the nerfing of those characters and playing, and I guess 5 years later, you getting into the game now, how does the game feel for you, and why Heroes of the Storm over League of Legends?
Familiarity, mostly. Because I'm more into Blizzard than I am... Because I'm more into, like, Blizzard games. Mainly Starcraft. And I can reference, like, oh, this with this. But with League of Legends, I don't have that sense of familiarity. And I feel like I'll get bored with it really fast because it's just the one map.
Even without your friends playing it? 'Cause I know a lot of your friends play that game.
Yeah. But yeah, I just feel like I'll get bored with it. Whereas in Heroes, there's like 20 different maps, each with a different objective, merc, camps, and it might not have as many heroes as League, but I feel like, believe it or not, there's more of a diversity. Because you could get like a team that's full damage, you get a team that's all soak, like tanks with maybe Vikings. And then you could get like the cheese team, like Murky, Probius, I don't know,
Zagara.
Zagara.
I actually won a match like that one time. It was like it was 5 characters like that were mainly pushed with one healer, and we winded up winning on
Like-
a Cursed Hollow.
Oh,
I don't know how the hell we won, but we won. We're like, oh my god, we won.
Murky, Probius, Zagara, Abathur.
No, it wasn't Abathur. It was Murky, Zagara, Probius. I want to say Lily was our healer. And I think we had like 1 damage. I can't remember who the damage was. And we ended up winning. We thought we were going to lose. We're like, oh my god, this is a quick match comp. And we ended up winning. And we ended up steamrolling that team. It wasn't even close.
What was their team?
I honestly don't remember. But I remember we steamrolled them because we're like, damn, they have a legit comp. They had tanks and everything. And we still ended up beating them. I think we just got so far ahead in levels where, like, when we were up like 2 levels or whatever, we were just able to kill them that much easier. And they were just bad, I guess. I don't know. The team was just bad. So I guess on the flip side of that, since you got into Heroes for familiarity over League of Legends and everything else, why a game like Fortnite over Call of Duty? Because you can't say familiarity.
I can't say familiarity, but I can say simplicity. Well, again,
but when you started playing Fortnite, it wasn't a simple game.
No, it wasn't. But there is a fair bit of familiarity because it's a third-person shooter and not a first-person shooter, which I feel gives me like a more increased range of motion. Because it's you can aim a lot faster than you can in a first-person shooter. Like, same thing with Splatoon, another third-person shooter. Like, it has those gyro controls, but even without them, you can aim a lot faster.
When you say a lot faster, what do you mean a lot faster?
Like with a first-person shooter, you're looking through the eyes of the shooter, so it's more chaotic. Whereas in a third-person shooter, you could see more of the environment around you. So you could see, like, where the bullets are coming from.
So you use, like, the field of vision that you get on the third person over
a first person.
Okay. So for that one, it's just more the feel of the game than anything else, which is why you kind of go with Splatoon and Fortnite
and Ninjala.
Ninjala. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I mean, you can't say familiarity. I've worked on 3 of them, and I've been playing them off and on since 2007. So
yeah.
I mean, currently I haven't played as much. The remaster of Call of Duty was pretty sick. But yeah, I guess that's gonna end it there.
Yeah.
Got nothing else to say.
Me neither.
Everything has kind of been same old. Really nothing great.
Yeah.
Hopefully to get on the golf course we can play. But yeah, most of the talk is gonna be like this.
Yeah.
Just so we can say something. All right, my boy. Well, as we did last time, we're gonna end this with my cousin's song, "Lost on My Cup," from I guess his debut release. Again, How Words. You can find him on the Instagram at how.words. Lost on My Cup. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, pretty much anywhere that you would want to find music. You can find it there. And if you guys have any emails, any music you want to send to us, please send them to mobanterpodcast@gmail.com. That's moebanterpodcast@gmail.com. If you remember, if you send emails, by all means, ask us whatever you want. Just all I ask, keep it respectful. We're not dealing with trolls or anything else. We're not gonna respond. No point. If you're sending music, we just need you to attach it in an MP3 format, and also on the email itself, let us know that we have the rights to play it on the podcast. We're not gonna try to sell it or take credit for your music, but we do need your permission, and make sure that you are the artist. It's not the, oh, well, my cousin does this like we do here. I texted my cousin, asked him for permission. I have a text officially with his permission that we can use it on this podcast. We need that from the artists themselves. Like, yes, I released a song. You guys have my permission to play it. We'll give you guys the pub. Give us your social information and everything else so we can send, traffic your way. If you're an artist, anybody, if you're an artist that just wants to sell some stuff, hey, let us know. We'll hit you up. We'll talk about your art. If it's video game art, or if it's just any type of art that you may want to just promote your brand. If you feel, hey, we'll send people your way. Again, I have a minor with me, so keep it clean. If you have some other stuff and the titles, just put, mature audience intended, and then I can take care of that myself because I am a consenting adult. But just let us know ahead of time, again, just where we can find you, the art you're trying to do. We won't criticize your art, but if you're trying to push something forward, if you're trying to push a community forward, trying to push your work forward, we're there for you. We're there for the support. Again, just keep everything respectful. And that's it, my boy. So I guess we'll come back and talk about pools E and F when we come back, most likely next week. And then we'll have that. And then, if you want to have something to talk about, If you guys want us to talk about something else, whether it be video games, movies, whatever. If you guys have some suggestions that we should watch together, and then we can talk about that, by all means, we're interested in that as well. Again, the email is mobanterpodcast@gmail.com. That's moebanterpodcast@gmail.com. And I guess for the last time, this is it. The song that we're going to be playing off to is the same as last week's. Is Lost on My Cup by my cousin How Words. Again, find them on Instagram at how.words. And all the music you can find is out there on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Google, everything else. All right, my boy. Well, I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you for indulging me again. And we'll be back next week. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.
Moving on in slow-mo, happy in a boat, rather be lost with you. I try to do it solo, do it the go-go, do it lost with you. Yeah, I do it with you. When I lose the doors, poor Richard. Yeah, they don't know the situation. Only pages in the bigger picture pause when the picture all pours of the liquor, yeah. Feels like a Salvador and a killer, yeah. It helps shut the doors and it seals them up. Hope for some more when I fill my cup. I hope that my hope finds hope. And my vital signs on idle. Cause if I don't find hope, I know Bible, there's no time. Moment's final. If I don't find hope, that's no sad, those feelings ice cold. Moving on in slow-mo, happy in a boat, or rather be lost with you. Yeah. They try to do it solo, do it the go-go, and do it lost with you. Getting lost in my cup, yeah. Getting lost in my cup. to the comments. What example are we setting for our daughters? Thick of the cut as with Gianna and Black Mamba at the bottom. Keep your head above the water. I don't wanna do this, but I gotta face the horror, death before dishonor. Designer's destiny, fuck the product, I'm a father. It's more than just my problem. Maybe thought to blame the way it was brought up. Getting caught up, expectations of my father. Try to mock up the greatness in Nirvana. Instead of shocking and a spinner to control like a shot up helicopter. Hurting, but I'm not hurt. Rather have this problem than a doctor. Pushing down the pills, they kill me softly like Lauryn Hill in concert. To this bitch called life isn't worth it, and I don't even want her. Moving on a slow-mo, hopping in a boat, or rather be lost with you. They try to do it solo, do what they go, do it lost with you. Getting lost in my car, yeah. Getting lost in my car. Lost with you, lost with you. Lost with you, lost with you. They try to do it solo, do what they go, do it lost with you. Getting lost in my car.